y'all, and welcome back to another video of My Creative Life with Kelssweetie, where we read books and we make art. Today, we are going over my April TBR. I am participating in Slime and Slasher's Old School April Challenge for a second year. I am so excited. I know that Kelsey didn't do this on purpose. Yes, she's another Kelsey. Make sure you go follow her, by the way. She's so much fun. She's full of nostalgia. She's a sweetheart. Honestly, truly, go follow her because she's so amazing. And she works on this challenge every single year, and it's always the most, I can't believe I found her last year and I found this challenge. It is the most fun ever, and I cannot be thankful enough that it happens during April, during my birthday month, because basically I could spend the entire month just being really nostalgic and in my feels the older I get, being the millennial I am. And this year is no different. I am so excited, and the challenge is so flexible. It's so much fun. So let's get into it because we have a lot to cover today. One, because I'm talking a little bit about what I'll be doing for Old School April this year, as well as talking about my TBR and how it coincides with the challenge. So let's get into it. Mentioned in the intro, I will be participating in Old School April this year, and I will be on the Candyman crew team. Of course, I'm going to be on the Candyman crew team. One, because RIP Tony Todd, but also two, shout out to Kelsey for putting a black horror amongst the other horror teams. I think that far too often, like, people come up with these creative names for things and black horror gets left in dust. So I really appreciate some of the diversity in these choices and these names. There's also the Scooby Gang. There's the Beetlejuice people. I don't know. I knew mine. I chose mine and I didn't care about nobody else's. Wait a second. I have them. There's the Scoobies, which has Cameron from Library Macabre, Kat from Kat's Novel Adventures, and Venus from Venus Escapes to Read. The Beetlejuice Brunch, which features Elizabeth from Elizabeth Sagewood here on YouTube. Katrina from Katrina Brown. She's amazing, y'all. She's so great. And Christine from Secrets Read. And then the Ghostbusters, which features Amy from Amy Noel Reads, Andrew from It Came From the Page, and Kelly from Kelly Hooked on Books. For the Candyman crew, Kelsey will be a part of the Candyman crew, but that is not the reason why I chose it. I chose it because it is the best crew, as well as April from Apple and Alchemy on Instagram. She's not on YouTube. And Coral from Pretty and Paper Cuts. I was on April's team last year. We were the Silver Snakes because for the last couple of years, it's been themed on Legends from the Hidden Temple. I know, throwback. And we had the smallest team, and we ended up winning. So I feel good. I feel like we've got it. Apples and Alchemy also does a 6 Sad April Instagram challenge that coincides with Old School April. And so I will be posting book recommendations all month and within the style of Daria. Last year I ended up doing different Daria featured type of post all month, and it was so much fun, and I plan on doing the same thing this year. So make sure you're following me over on Instagram if you want a ton of book recommendations. I'll be giving them all month within the scope of the whole Daria aesthetic and like 90s aesthetic. I'm trying to see how I can kind of do things a little differently but the same, because I did like all the title cards that I did last year. But go over there. I already have a ton of that. I'm not going to go through all of the prompts. I think last year I went through every single prompt. I actually did a full Old School April planning video for a Patreon exclusive. So go over on Patreon if you want to go see that video. We can do a little body double thing because it is a long one. And right now I'm still giving my Patreon top tier away for free until July. That means that you guys get Patreon exclusive videos, you get Patreon exclusive content, recommendations, both from like other YouTubers that I find and videos that I find, crafts that I find, as well as every single month you get a bookmark, a special bookmark. And also sometimes if I have extra things, a special print or stickers. Last month everybody got special stickers for me ahead of a shop release that I'm doing. So it's, in my opinion, worth your time. So the link to that will be down below. So I'm not going to go through all of the prompts because this will be far too long of a video. But I will be going over what reading prompts all of my April TBR goes along with. If you also don't know and you want to join Old School April, I'm going to put the link to Kelsey's video down below where she explains what all goes into Old School April. Although we've already started, it's never too late to join. It's very flexible, a challenge. Honestly, you can stack points, and also the points are kind of counted in a different way depending on, like I said, last year I was on one of the smallest teams, but that also meant that things, somehow Kelsey figures out a way to make it all coincide and make sense. And it's a lot of fun. It's a readathon, a watchathon, an activity-thon, a readathon, like you really, a snackathon, like the prompts really are for whatever you want. It's just really a month. One, to get yourself in the spirit if you are a Halloween person, to get that halfway through the 6 months if you are, but also just a moment to be nostalgic and enjoy whether it's the 90s or the 80s or the 70s or whatever is nostalgic for you all over again for just a month and enjoy it with other people. It's absolutely amazing. It's the sweetest thing in the world, and I'm so excited to be participating again today. Today's actually the first day, so I still have to post my 6th day of April. But nonetheless, I'm already running behind, but it will happen and we will be fine. But let's get into my TBR. These are going to coincide with a lot of the reading prompts. I think I'm going to go through what my TBR is, and then I'll go, this is what they coincide with as far as prompts are concerned. I think that's the best way to maybe go about doing this. So, one is the sweet read for the month of April. If you are not in the Sweethearts Book Club over on Fable, please come and join us. It's a lot of fun. Regardless of our name, we read nothing but horror and weird lit fic and speculative fiction. And last month's read was The Eyes Are the Best Part, and everybody ended up really loving that novel. The month before that was our February read, and it was Flowers from the Void, and it was all right. And the month before that, what was our January sweet read? Oh, American Rapture, and that was also great. So honestly, we're on the up and up. This month's sweet read is Sky Full of Elephants. Literally, as I'm filming this just won, and it won by a landslide. Everybody wanted to read this. So my mom is the one who recommended this to me. I know that's wild. I don't know how she was recommended it, but she did say that this book was amazing. She did tell me, I warn you about the ending. The ending really took me out of it for some reason, but she said it's still absolutely worth the read. She got back into reading, and she could not tell me enough, like, you have to read this book. And then I started seeing it pop up everywhere else, and everybody said that it was really good. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm reading this. I'm basically going to run through the synopsises of all of these. So, in a world without white people, what does it mean to be black? One day, a cataclysmic event occurs. All of the white people in America walk into the nearest body of water. A year later, Charlie Brunton is a black man living in an entirely new world. Having served time in prison after a wrongful conviction, he's now a professor of electric and solar power systems at Howard University when he receives a call from someone he wasn't even sure existed, his daughter, Sydney, a 19-year-old left behind by her white mother and stepfamily. Traumatized by the event and terrified of the outside world, Sydney has spent a year in isolation in Wisconsin. Desperate for help, she turns to the father she never knew, a man she has always resented. Sydney and Charlie meet for the first time as they embark on a journey across a truly post-racial America in search of answers, but neither of them is prepared for this new world and how they see themselves in it. Heading south toward what is now called the Kingdom of Alabama, everything Charlie and Sydney thought they knew about themselves and the world will be turned upside down. Brimming with heart and humor, Sibo Campbell, its astonishing debut novel is about the power of community and connection, healing and self-actualization, and it's a reckoning, and I'm adding the and. It's a reckoning with what it means to be black in America in both Charlie's world and ours. So, exciting. I'm very interested to see where this goes. I think the context, especially, as always, the state of the world, I think it's very interesting. I love this cover, as I've said many times when I hauled this back in January. And again, it's got a quote. Let's see here. Who's praising it? Donata Review has praised this. The author of The Black Buck has praised this. That's all I'm kind of seeing. But still very, very interesting. And like I said, my mom is new to reading. So if she was like, "Oh, this is really good," I trust her judgment, because she's not like, "Oh, I just read all the time." Like, if it's good or it's not. So I'm excited to read this. This will be for I Love Lucy, which is read a book written by a woman and or a female protagonist. Since it has the female protagonist. Wait, is that, how did I color code these? Wait a second. Evil in Me is definitely purple. The Unworthy is definitely red. Then Carl with pink. This is definitely yellow. Okay. All right. So, Sky Full of Elephants doesn't match a lot of my prompts, to be honest, but one of the other books on this lineup covers a lot of them, so it's all good. This will be covering I Love Lucy, which it features a female protagonist, since one of our main characters in this book is a woman. The Fifth Element, which is read a sci-fi book or a book with science elements. Considering the state of everything, I would consider this kind of having science elements or sci-fi elements, just because it's not dystopian, but I guess speculative. I don't know, but I would count this personally, considering Fern Gully, read a book with nature featured on the cover or in the story, tree, forest, lake, river, mountain, snow, etc. This has mountains on the cover, so we're counting that, and it's outside. And I guess the story has people walking into the nearest body of water, so I think that counts as well. And finally, New Kids on the Block, which is read a new to you author or genre, which Sebo Campbell, I've never read his work, so I'm excited to get into that. Oh, also, Reading Rainbow, read a book by a diverse author or a book with a diverse cast of characters. There's a couple others on here that may end up being a part of it, like Monsters, Inc., a book that made you cry and or laugh. There's a possibility this may make me cry, so I'm sitting here and and going to say, like, that's a maybe. And then Tamagotchi, which is a new one, DNF a book at 100 pages in or 50% or more. So DNFs only count for this one prompt. So I could possibly hate this book, and then I could get that one. But that's pretty much it for this one. But it covers a couple of them. There's a lot of prompts for the reading portion, and I think that's just so that you can have a lot of different options and ways to stack your points. The next book that I'll be reading is by Brom, Evil in Me. I tried to read Slewfoot. Slewfoot didn't work for me. And it's mainly because I found out I don't like Puritan witch stories. It's just a thing. Like, something I realized I've tried like 3 or 4 different times now, and it's just, at this point, this is what it is. It is what it is. But I love Brom. I love the idea of his work. I love all of the artwork that he draws, he does for his different books and everything. And while I want to read Krampus for the holiday one year, I don't really know if there's anything else I can read. I won't get rid of Slewfoot, and I think that I'm pretty much cool on reading it because I've now tried twice and it just won't work. But I do think I'm going to keep it mainly for the artwork within it rather than the story. I know that sounds crazy, but as an artist, personally, I don't think it's that crazy. But it was like, oh, Evil in Me. It's 70s. It's punk rock. I should be able to read this. I think I also tried to read this, or maybe I hauled this. I'm remembering talking a lot about this before. A lot of these books, though, were from when I did the hardcover sale last December. So if any of this seems like, have I been here before? Why does this feel like deja vu? It might be because you saw my January huge haul that I did at the top of the year. But I'm going to read the synopsis for this one as well. It's really interesting. Aspiring musician Ruby Tucker has had enough of her small rural town and dysfunctional family, but a falling out with her best friend and bandmate has killed her dreams of escaping and making it big in the 80s Atlanta punk scene. When Ruby helps her eccentric neighbor organize his religious relics, an ancient ring clamps down on her finger, possessing her with the spirit of a bloodthirsty demon. There's no exorcising it unless hundreds of people chant and spell to set Ruby free, and what's worse, the ring is a beacon for evil, drawing a monstrous mob straight to Ruby, hungry for her flesh. If Ruby can get her band back together, she has a shot at salvation. It's time for her to face the music and put her whole soul into a song, one powerful enough to raise some hell. The devilish tale includes nearly 2 dozen of Brahms' immersive paintings and brilliant in papers. It's absolutely gorgeous. A lot of the images in here, and I'm excited to read this. It's kind of giving We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. Kind of. I'm hoping that it's not as much that, because I didn't really enjoy that novel that much, and I've kept it really because I have a majority of Grady Hendrix work, and I really love the cover that I had, which kind of looks like a Rolling Stone magazine. I know. It's my library. I'll keep what I want. I didn't hate it enough to get rid of it or anything. Although I don't think I'm going to read Wayward Witches just because of a lot of the stuff that I've heard about the book. I'm hoping that this gives more of the punk rock Atlanta type of thing rather than, and something like witchier and demonic rather than what I felt like the last, like We Sold Our Souls kind of gave, which there were portions of that I really loved. I think that there was just something like putting the story together wise that I wasn't really vibing with. But this I feel like may be more fun. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best because I really do want to love a Brahm novel. And again, I don't want to keep on just like keeping his novels just because of the artwork. This one covers a good amount of prompts. So, time warp, read a book set in the 80s or 90s, or a book with a nostalgic vibe. This takes place in the 80s. Yeah, it has to do with the punk scene. So and looking at all of the images and stuff, nostalgic, it's vibe. Okay. Neon, a book with a neon color or cover. We have plenty of neon colors on here. I Love Lucy, read a book written by a woman or a female protagonist. The female protagonist in here. Teen Witch, read a book with magical elements or items, witches, curses, objects. The Ring in here. Singing in the Rain, read a book featuring music or musical elements. She's in a punk rock band. I know you are, but what am I? Read a book with an eyeball or the letter I on the cover. So there are eyes on the cover here, but also Evil in Me features an eye in the name. Monster Squad, read a book with any kind of monster in the story or on the cover. Cryptids, vampires, there's monsters in this. That's obvious. And then finally, mixtape, read a book with mixed media elements. So, because there's pictures inside of here, it's got mixed media elements. So it covers a lot. Actually, far more. And of course, it also has like all of the other ones, like Did It Make You Cry or Did You DNF, are all also possibilities for this overall. So my next novel is one that I know is either going to be amazing or break me, and that's Dungeon Crawler Carl. Oh my god. I picked up this novel, one, because I really love the covers. They did a rebrand of all the covers in this series. Apparently it's been out for a while, and they rebranded the covers, and now everyone's reading them, which is insane to me because this looked like so much fun. And then I saw the original covers and I was like, I would have never picked that up. So, the power of a well-designed cover. This gives Ready Player One vibes to me, which I'm very, very excited about because I loved Ready Player One, was really let down by Ready Player Two. Don't get me started. But I was really, really excited by this. And also, even Tomorrow and Tomorrow, like the video game vibes, I really want to read another novel that kind of puts me in this really fun space that's not so serious, but is still entertaining enough for somebody who reads serious literature. And I'm saying serious like, you know, I read horror and everything, but it all means something type of thing. I want something that's not stupid. And I've heard a lot of people absolutely love this novel. Now, is it thick? Yes, it is very thick for me. Now, is it also the only audiobook known in existence only on Audible? Yes. I'm concerned. This is my only physical read? No, that's a lie. It's not my only physical read. But I am concerned on whether or not I'm going. This is why I said it's either going to make or break me. Because I'm either going to read this and go, oh my god, I can't put this down. And I absolutely love it. Or I'm not going to do that. And I'm actually going to get like, I don't know, what did I stop at? 100 pages? and be like, I can't finish this guy. Hello, editing Kelsey. Thought I'd pop in here just real quick because I was laughing at myself as I was editing this. I've already finished Dungeon Crawler Carl. It was absolutely amazing, and I see myself actually picking up the second book, which is crazy for me considering I don't read series. I'm not going to talk too much about it here because I'll be talking about it at the end of the month. However, this portion where I was talking about the audiobook, there turns out to be something other than the Audible official audiobook, and that is the immersive tunnel audio, which was created by the voice actor for the audiobook himself. I ended up paying for that. Do not regret a thing. Now, I know that there may be people on here who are just like, those kind of truncate the novel. It doesn't say the whole thing. There's some added portions. I understand that entirely, but I did read the book as I was listening to the immersive tunnel, and I noticed that the portions that they did move around or switch out were nominal. Like, you still absolutely got the entire story, in my opinion, and I found that it was 100,000 times better than even the original audio because it was so immersive. I literally felt like I was playing the game. I felt like I was a part of the Crawler series, and I really do think that had I not listened to the audiobook, had I not been so immersed in the story, I don't know if it would have hit as much as it did for me. I finished it almost within a day, and it was laugh out loud funny. And although it was stupid in the way that, like, Ren and Stimpy or Beavis and Butthead is stupid. Like, it's very, this is stupid, but in a well-written way that's very entertaining instead of, like, South Park mind-numbing stupid. I don't know if that's very specific or helpful, and I know that those references strung together like that really showed my 30-year-old age. However, I really wanted to step in real quick and say that before I got into anything else because I've spent so much time on this audiobook portion, and I just wanted to mention that that was available and I highly recommend it. It was recommended to me after really looking at a bunch of Reddit like threads, and a lot of people said that was probably the best way to experience, especially the first novel, to get you into the books and get you into the story of Carl and all of them. Yeah, can't recommend it enough. It's absolutely worth, like, I think it was $21, and it was a bit of money. As somebody who doesn't really buy audio because we have libraries, but it was worth it. They have a 3-hour snippet example that you can listen to, and I thought, oh, I'll just read some of that and it'll like jumpstart me into the first 100 pages. I read that and automatically said take my money because it was so good listening to what they had created. It really is an entire event, and I think it's extra funny if you get a lot of the pop culture references in it. Personally, since my partner watches a lot of basketball, I did get some of the sports references that were happening and the sports commentators that were in there, which I just found hilarious, to be honest, when I caught it. I cannot say enough, if you guys read this series, which I do recommend, I will talk about it far more in depth, but if you read this series, I do recommend that you read the first book with the immersive tunnel. One, it goes to, like, the actual voice actor, which I love. It doesn't just go to Amazon. And two, because it really, if you are not normally somebody who reads RPG lit, or into fantasy or anything that's really not highbrow, you may not like this book just fresh out. Just going to say that. But I do think that you may, if you don't take yourself too seriously, you may absolutely love this book if you end up using the immersive audio because it really puts you into the story. Okay, I've already wasted so much time hopping on here to talk about this. Let's get back into the video. This is, in total, how many pages? 450 pages. I'm very concerned. Let me read to y'all what this book is, though, because it does sound like a lot of fun. The apocalypse will be televised. Welcome to the first book in the wildly popular and addictive Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinneman, now with bonus material exclusive to this print edition. You know what's worse than breaking up with your girlfriend? Being stuck with her prize-winning show cat. And you know what's worse than that? An alien invasion, the destruction of all man-made structures on Earth, and the systematic exploitation of all the survivors for a sadistic intergalactic game show. That's what. Join Coast Guard vet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they try to survive the end of the world, or just get to the next level in a video game, like Trap-Filled Fantasy Dungeon. A dungeon that's actually the set of a reality television show with countless viewers across the galaxy. Exploding goblins, magical potions, deadly drug-dealing llamas, this ain't your ordinary game show. Welcome, Crawler. Welcome to the dungeon. Survival is optional. Keeping the viewers entertained is not. It's a lot of fun. I think that this sounds amazing. I'm excited. I've heard that it's really good. Is there a possibility that once I start reading this physically, that I'll go, you know what? I'm going to pay for the audiobook because there's no other way that I'm going to finish this book. It's a possibility, and I'm leaving room for that. I'm leaving a lot of space for that. I think a lot of like my science fiction type of books are kind of running that gambit that it's really good writing, so it taking itself too seriously isn't a necessity for me. And I've been looking for another book to make me feel that way. I'm hoping that this gives those vibes. It's a possibility that it won't, and I'll leave space for that. But I've heard tons of people who usually I agree with what they're reading, love this franchise and love this series. So we will see. If so, I'm very excited because these books look amazing. And I'm excited to collect the rest of the books if that's the case. If not, we tried. We go and we look for another fun book again. This covers a lot of my prompts though. So it covers larger than life, read a book over 300 pages. Neon, book with a neon color on the cover. Scary Spice, read a book with a frightened person on the cover, which is hilarious. Let's look at our little guy right here. He's so funny. Airbud, read a book featuring an animal companion or an animal POV. Princess Donut, who's the cat, is in this. Fifth Element, read a sci-fi book or a book with science elements. I Know You Are, But What Am I? Read a book with an eyeball or the letter I on it. The letter I is on here in the author's name, but there's also an eyeball in the Carl portion. Giallo, read a book with yellow on the cover. Monster Squad, read a book with any kind of monster in the story and or on the cover. In the story, of course, there's nothing but monsters because of the alien invasion. And then finally, New Kids on the Block, read a new to you author or genre. So this really covers a lot, and for some of those, it's the only one that covers it. So I'm really excited to read this one. We will see where it goes. I have a lot of, out of all of these, I think this is the one that I'm most excited to read, and I have the highest hopes for. But we will definitely see. The next three are kind of, I don't want to say low, but I feel like those three that I just showed y'all are higher on the scale of me like reading them in importance, rather than these are kind of in there. That's a lie. That's a lie. Here, let's read. I'll say the next one and then I'll say that. The next one on my list is The Unworthy by Agustina Basterica. Basterica. That's how you're supposed to say it. I've heard so many people say it wrong. And one, love this edition that I got from the Barnes & Noble pre-order sale. These, like, I'm not a fan of a French flap. I think that they honestly get messed up far too easily, but that's gorgeous inside. Absolutely love how they did this flap. I really, really love this edition. And although I'm not one really for sprayed edges usually, it does look good on here. So yeah, really excited to read this one. It's also a novella, and this one is also the April read for Coffee and Cuentos book club. So I'll be participating again in Ashley's book club because luckily I have available what they're reading and it makes sense. I could have read this in September, but in all honesty, I was tired of being out of the loop. I haven't read Tender as the Flesh. I know, I feel like I'm the only horror reader in all of BookTube who hasn't read Tender as the Flesh. I plan to, I just haven't gotten to it yet. And I don't know, maybe I'll end up reading it this September, depending on how I feel about this one. But it is about religion, and usually I do like religion horror type stuff, or dystopian religion type of things. It is a shorter book, and it looks approachable. I'm waiting on the audiobook to come in, but depending on how my other physical reads go, we will see if I, like, kind of knock this one out as a gimme. Let me read the synopsis just in case anybody out there doesn't know about this book yet. From her cell in a mysterious convent, cloistered away from the climate catastrophe that has plunged the world into chaos, a woman writes the story of her life and whatever she can find: discarded ink, dirt, and even her own blood. A lower member of the sacred sisterhood, deemed an unworthy, she dreams of ascending to the ranks of the enlightened at the center of the convent and of pleasing the forbidden superior sister. But when a strange newcomer joins the ranks of the unworthy, the narrator is forced to consider her long-buried past. As she grows closer to the newcomer, she is increasingly haunted by the questions that she can no longer ignore. How did she get into the sacred sisterhood? Why can't she remember her life before? And what really happens when a woman is chosen to be enlightened? Of course, very excited because it has to do with religion horror and dystopian and all of that. So I just really love Scribner did this, and I just truly love how they did this special edition. Like, the red just looks so much better in my opinion than the black does, and it's got like this special off, like the gloss is slightly off. Oh, I love it, absolutely love it. I'm excited to read this one. This one, I don't know if it. Let me not speak too soon. Maybe it covers a good amount. Not as many as, of course, Dungeon Crawler Carl did, but I Love Lucy, because it has a woman protagonist. Get Shorty, this one is a novella. Reading Rainbow, diverse author. I Know You Are One Am I. There's an I in the author's name on the cover. And, Lost in Translation. Read a book written by an author from a different country than your own. And Scooby-Doo, read a mystery, since this is kind of a mystery, since she's trying to figure out some things. So yeah, that is basically like my important, I really need to read these TBR. These next two are like, hey, if I finish those, it'd be great if I got to these TBR. And the thing that's crazy about it is that the audiobook is already available for Sucker, and I've already gotten it, so it's crazy for me to be going, if I get to it, when more than likely I'm going to end up reading this because I already have it, to be honest. I am not gonna lie to you. I got it because I love this cover. They originally, that light is killing me. Okay, here we go. They originally did a hardcover of this that was kind of like a light lime green, and it had like kind of, I can't explain what the font was, and then it had like a little blood drop or something. And the cover was cute. Like, it was a good cover. This was far more fun, in my opinion. And made me go, I want to actually read that now. So now we're seeing what this is. I have no clue what this is. I think the line Sucker highlights the twilight in the Twilight Zone, create a caustic satire of obscene wealth. That's kind of exciting to me too. I just think that it was a really fun cover, and that's why I was like, I've heard of that one. Well, I really like that cover they did now, so I'll pick that up. I think it was one day while I needed a half off somewhere at Barnes. So, this is what the synopsis is. Chuck Gross would like nothing more than to prune himself from his family tree. He's already clipped his name, turning Charles Grosshart Jr., son of a billionaire labor exploiter, weapons manufacturer, and climate change denier, into ordinary good guy Chuck, the self-made proprietor of an up-and-coming punk label. But when Daddy threatens to cut him off, Chuck is forced to get a real job, and conveniently, an old college friend has just swept back into his life with the perfect opportunity. Famed Harvard dropout and biotech darling Olivia Watts says she is on the verge of totally reinventing the field of medicine. But when Chuck signs on, he soon discovers that things at the vast Kenosis campus are not quite how they appear. Secret labs, vanished employees, and mutated test subjects seem to be as impossible as they are sinister. Is Olivia simply a scammer, or does her technology threaten to usher humanity toward a far bloodier fate? Moreover, does Chuck, who has never accomplished anything without the aid of Daddy's money, stand a chance of stopping her? Daniel Hornsby hilariously skewers the insatiable hungers of the ultra-rich into a novel that no one will be able to resist sinking their teeth into. So I'll either love this or I'll absolutely hate it. There is no in between. I'm pretty positive with this because it does have to do with spoiled rich people who I'm pretty positive are white based on what I'm reading there. So we will see. Either I'll be really enthralled by the story and be like, that was fun, that was crazy, or I'll be like, how I was when I read at the beginning of the year Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I hated so much. I didn't even wait until I did my unhaul. I got rid of it immediately because everybody just seemed completely vapid and like they had no brain and they were just living off of money and were the worst parts of capitalism. So I don't know. I've heard mixed things. I think that's what I've mainly heard is either you really understand and you like it or you don't like it. And there's no in between. So we will see where I sit. For this one, there's a few. So I know you are one of mine for the Daniel, the eye that's on the cover. Read a book with yellow on the color for Giallo. There's yellow on this cover. Monster Squad, read a book with any kind of monster in the story or the cover. I've heard that there's like vampires or something in this. And then New Kids on the Block, read a new to you author. There's not a lot that this covers, to be honest. And I think that I'm kind of, if I didn't already have the audiobook, I would probably be a little bit more concerned, but you know, we'll see. We threw it in there. I'm the first to admit that I really bought it for the cover. I hope that I like it so I can have the cover still. But, you know, if I don't, I won't lose much sleep over getting rid of it. The last book that I really do hope that if I finish Dungeon Crawler Carl, I'll be able to read this physically. Because of course it doesn't have an audiobook, but it is one that I'm really, really interested to read, and that's Black Punk Now. It is a combination of interviews and articles and comic book pictures and illustrations and experiences all surrounding Black punk in the community. I read James Spooner's The High Desert, that's what it was called, and it was a fully illustrated graphic memoir, and I loved it. Learning about other Black people within the punk community, what punk music is, what the punk community is, has been really amazing for me. Mainly because I think that the stereotypes surrounding the idea of punk is something that has kept a lot of people from thinking that they're alternative or punk rock or whatever the case is, when a lot of people actually subscribe to a lot of the rebellion and ideas and ideals that come out of that community. Don't get me started, because as somebody who is right now has binge watched Star Wars as an adult, I am all in this whole people don't understand what these things actually are, and that people of color and Black people are supposed to be a part of these communities because of what their message actually are, but we're kept out of them for one reason or another. I'm really, really excited to read this. It has a lot of singers and other fans and other artists and creators within the Black punk space featured in here, and I can't wait to get to it. I think what'll probably end up happening, personally, I'm just gonna be honest with myself, is I will probably get through portions of this and read what I can out of it as the year goes on, and hopefully finish it at some point. I think the idea that I will finish it this month is like, wow, you really moved this month. You were in a great mind space. And I think maybe that might happen, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm going to read the synopsis for this one and then let you know what prompts that this will cover. Edited by the creator of Afropunk, author and illustrator James Spooner, and celebrated novelist Chris L. Cherry, Black Punk Now is a collection of original nonfiction, fiction, and comics about the Black punk experience as told by the people who are living it. Contributors include Hanif Abdurabik. Oh my god. He's a really famous author, and I never learned how to properly say his name. Abdurrakib. I'm sorry. Mars Dixon, Brontez Purnell, Osa Ato, and Mariah Stovall. celebrating punk's DIY spirit while creating a new reference point for music lovers, readers, and historians. This anthology is for those who have been in the scene for decades, as well as newcomers searching to see themselves on the page. Black Punk Now highlights a diversity of perspective, identities, and styles at work in this ever-evolving counterculture. Its musical, world-stretching fiction touches on Afrofuturism, fairy tales, embracing realities. The narrative and instructive nonfiction shares everything from surprising family histories to actionable DIY liberation tactics, all linked by an ongoing conversation among femme, black, and brown festival organizers. With striking visual elements integrated throughout, this smart, intimate collection centers Black creativity in the rebellious underground. Very, very exciting. And again, like, that's just a sample of what it looks like. I think there's so many, like, as you can see, there's just so much in there. And it's, y'all know I love a great, interesting interior of a book. So I think that's really what drew me to it as well, that I just feel like there's so much here to absorb. Like, there's even a portion in here that's like, how to make a zine, which is, I love zines. I mean, also like handmade zines, not just like the stuff that we make at Night Terror. So this is really exciting. We will see if I will get to it. And finally, the prompts that it references: Indiana Jones, read a book by an indie author. Reading Rainbow, read a book by a diverse author. Singing in the Rain, read a book featuring music or musical elements. I Know You Are One of Mine, read a book with an eyeball or the letter I on the cover. True Life, read a nonfiction book. New Kids on the Block, read a new to you author or genre. Chris Eleuterio I've never read from, so that's the new to me author, as well as this is nonfiction, so I don't really read nonfiction, so that's also. And Mixtape, read a book with mixed media elements. As you saw, there's plenty of things within here that is mixed media. So really excited to read this. That is my April TBR. It's really all over the place, but honestly, this is when I can kind of catch up with a lot of different things that don't fit into celebrations from the rest of the year, as I've talked about at length on this channel. I try to use my open or free months that don't have a heritage specifically that's being celebrated to kind of knock out some books that aren't diverse. So that leaves April, July, August, October, December. So 5 months, no, 6 months out of the year, because January. 6 months out of the year, I'm not sitting here and having something specific. Although August is a free month, it is Artist Appreciation Month, and this year I've decided to start leaning into that as well. So all of the things that I'll be reading in August, just as a little sneak peek, either are about artists, by artists, or the books are simply me being very like, oh my god, I basically bought this book for the artwork type of thing. So that's just a little heads up on that. But so during a month like April, I'm basically just like, okay, what can I fit into these prompts, and what can I just kind of knock out right now that I don't have to worry about trying to fit in somewhere else later on in the year, which is much harder than you think. I just said 6 months, but I feel like I hardly have spaces in the year for something like that, which I'm not mad at. There's a reason why I have my TBR set up the way that we have it. But I think that it's very interesting when I do have that moment to kind of, okay, it's a free for all, you can read whatever you want. And I'm like, bet, say less. Like I said, I get so excited about this month because I can kind of look back at the 90s and things that I enjoyed as a kid. And it really is special because it's during my birthday month, so I can kind of relive a lot of things in preparation or as I celebrate my years on this earth and stuff. And this challenge is a great way to do that. And I really love my TBR for this month. I was really, really excited because it kind of feels like a free-for-all breather. Like I said, that aren't really too serious. Like Sky Full of Elephants is serious, but I feel like a majority of it just feels like, oh, I'm just reading, not, you know, I have to analyze stuff, which I love to do obviously in my books, but it's nice to have like a breather, especially after March being as heavy as it was. So I can't wait to do some of these wrap-ups with you. Like I said, follow me over on Instagram if you want to keep up to date with what's happening in real time and also get all of those recs from me participating in Six Ed April. I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. I got under an hour again, y'all. I'm so excited. I'm gonna say that every single time I get under an hour. But if you like today's video, please subscribe down below. Like I said, there's tons of recommendations. And this month, because I'm going to be participating in Old School April, I have some more millennial-based 90s type of book recommendations that I'll be exploring near like the end of the month. So if you're looking for more book recs, please follow me down below. What else? What am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything else? We're gonna say no. We're gonna say no. I hope that y'all enjoyed today's video, and please give me a like if you did. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.